Hi everyone, this is Keith Schleicher from Gaming Trend and Tabletop Throwdown, and I'm here with Paul from CGE Games, and we are going to go through a couple of their games that they have here at Origins, and one of the big hits or big games of the convention is Codenames Duet, the next game in the Codenames series. So this is a cooperative game instead of a competitive. So how do you make it cooperative? Because you have to kind of keep it secret who you're trying to get.
It's very simple. The grid is a two-sided grid.
Okay.
So at the during the game, I'm giving you clues for things that are on my side, and at the same time as you're giving clues for things on your side. But because I don't know what's on your side, and you don't know what's on my side. The objective of the game is that before the time runs out, and it's using these timer tokens here, we have to find all 15 agents.
Okay.
Okay, now, you know where 9 of the agents are.
Okay.
So you've got 9 agents on your side of the grid, and I have 9 agents on my side of the grid.
Okay.
But 3 of them are duplicated.
Okay.
Which makes 15 total.
So we have some that are shared, but most of them aren't.
Yes, 3 of them are shared. And yeah, basically the rules follow the same normal rules as Codenames. So I would give you a clue and a number, and you would try to guess. But after you finish guessing, one of these tokens disappears. And this is the timer. So we have 9 rounds in which to find all 15 agents.
So, do these agents have any other function besides just being the timer?
They are the timer. But if you were to hit a bystander, for example, then instead of taking a token here, we put the bystander token on the card. Now we put it there specifically facing you. If you were to guess it and it was a bystander on this side, because I don't know what's on that side.
Okay, so it's possible that even though I might have guessed it, and it's a bystander for me,
I don't know that until I guess it.
Right.
Okay, but that at the moment, that tells us that you know it's a bystander on this side of the card, but on your side of the card, that could be an agent, it could be a bystander, it could be an assassin.
Right.
So the tricky part of the game is that there are 3 assassins on each side.
And are any of those shared?
Yeah, understanding how those assassins work is one of the key parts of the game. So one of those assassins is a shared assassin.
Okay.
So that's bad if either of us touch it. Another of those assassins is a bystander on the other side, but the third assassin is actually an agent on the other side.
Oh wow.
Okay, so if we look at this grid, for example, my assassins here are Bread, Medic, and Mud. And on your side, Bread is a bystander, Mud is actually an agent. So if you give the clue for this, and I press it, even though it's an assassin on my side, that doesn't matter. If I'm guessing it, you look at what's on your side, and it's an agent, and what that tells me is, okay, I've now found which of my assassins is the agent, so I can ignore the other 2.
Right. Okay.
So there's an extra level of complexity just with the assassins, but the game plays in the same way as normal Codenames. Once these timer tokens have run out, we go into a phase called Sudden Death. And in Sudden Death, both of us can have as many guesses as we want until we get it wrong, and then it's game over. But no more clues are given.
Oh wow.
So at that point, we're both sitting here thinking, oh, what was those clues he gave me that I haven't got yet? And you're trying to guess.
So just because these timer tokens are gone, it doesn't mean you've lost the game?
No, you lose the game. So once the timer tokens are run, you do Sudden Death, and as soon as you get anything wrong in Sudden Death, then it's game over. But it's a last-ditch effort to try and get everything. Now, that's just the basic game. Okay, so what we've done is we've actually included in the box campaign mode. So the game comes with a map. Okay, there we go. Okay,
so kind of like a legacy system.
Not a legacy system, just a campaign system. So you start off in Prague.
Okay.
And the numbers here indicate how many of these tokens there are and how many of them start that side up. If we were to succeed at Prague, we then choose where we want to go next, and the numbers indicate how many of these tokens, because some of them might actually start face down. I won't explain that at the moment, but that's a little tricky. But basically, you can keep going as far as you can. Now, the base game, even though that's the standard difficulty setting, is hard. Okay?
Right, yeah.
We average usually about a 25% success rate with people who we're demoing them to. But once you've played it a few times with the same person and you get to know how the assassins work, that percentage rate will go up. So with me and my group, we got as far as Dubai the other night, which was, considering we were not very good at the game initially, we actually got as far as Dubai. So it just gives the game an extra set of legs. Once you've beaten it on the basic difficulty, you can actually then progress through the cities. So yeah, so that's the campaign.
Cool. So why would you have these flipped over with the...
Yeah, so if we were to play, say, on that difficulty setting, that means we're allowed to hit three bystanders using the rules that I explained earlier on. Once we've hit three bystanders, then if we hit another bystander, then we lose a token, and you then mark it with the bystander. So you effectively lose two turns. So the number of face-up bystanders indicate the number of bystanders you're allowed to hit before you suffer any penalty. And one of the, which one is it? I think one of them is like, 9-0. So there are 9 tokens, but they're all face down. So it basically means you can't have any mistakes. Right. If you get any mistake, 2 tokens go. One goes there, and the other one goes here.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's a lot of things added, but they're very simple, and it's a great way to be able to play with 2 people.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to do a
Sometimes you only have to. Yeah. A lot of couples have said that they're not able to play Codenames until friends come around, whereas now they can. And although it's specifically designed for 2 players, we often find it being played with 4 players.
Okay.
So what would happen is you would be with somebody else, and I would be with somebody else, and we'd be whispering together, and we'd be working together to give our clues. And for me personally, 4 players is a good number because it's more social, and you're talking to other people. You've just got to be careful to whisper very quietly. Right. Make sure the other team don't hear.
Very cool.
The words in the game is 400 brand new words.
Oh wow.
So you could just buy effectively as a word expansion set for the base game. So yeah, you can mix all of these words in with the original words, shuffle them all together, and just lay out new words.
So when is this going to be officially released?
So the release will be at Gen Con, and then it should be available in retail, I think, the week after Gen Con.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And price point is $20?
I think it's exactly the same as I mean it's the same size box, same number of components in it. So I think it'd be crazy if we did it for a different price.
Yeah. Looks like a great addition that has enough differences to really make it an interesting game.
Yeah, cool.
And now we have another Vlaada Chvátil. That's
well done at the pronunciation. Yes, very good.
Another design by him, and it's called That's
a Question. Yes.
So my question is, That's a Question?
It's a new party game by Vlaada, which is possibly even easier to teach people than Codenames.
Oh wow!
And is definitely more of a party, more of a social party game. So the objective of the game is that you're all squirrels. And you're trying to get to the top of the board. Why? That's a question. We don't know why. Why squirrels? Vlaada likes squirrels. So the game is about asking difficult questions of people. Questions which you give them 2 options, and the idea of the game is that you're supposed to give them a choice which is not an easy choice to make. So what would happen is if it was my turn and I decided that I was going to ask you a question, then there are 3 possible questions that you can ask somebody. There's what would you rather choose?
Okay.
There's what would you miss more if it ceases to exist? And what do you consider generally worse if someone... Okay, now, the clever part of the game is that you actually have all of the answers in your hand. So each player will have 5 of these cards. Okay. And you'll notice that there's 3 colours on the card. So if I ask you the what would you rather choose question, then I would have to choose 2 of the blue answers. Okay. And I would present those choices to you. So would you rather choose to be able to comfort anybody sad, or to be immune to all diseases? Now what you would do is you would select whether your answer is A or B. You have to answer honestly. So you would select that secretly, and then all of the other players in the game, they would try to guess what your answer would be. So they would put a card forward to try and guess.
I see.
Then you would reveal your answer. Now you're always right.
Right.
So you would score 1 point, and then everybody else would reveal their cards, and if they were also correct, they would score a point. Now the player who asked the question, in this case me, I would score 1 point for every incorrect guess. So I want to make the question as difficult as possible. If everybody gets it right, I get no points. But if everybody gets it wrong, I get a whole bunch of points.
Right.
And then play passes to the next player, and you keep going around like that. That's the basic principle of the game. The couple of extra bits that make it nice is that you'll notice that there are these nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. Now at the start of the game, everybody except the start player will have one of these nuts. And whoever I choose to ask a question of, I have to steal their nuts, because I'm a squirrel and I like stealing nuts. Now what that means is you no longer have any nuts. So nobody can ask you a question, and it stops the same player being repeatedly being asked questions of. So if I asked you a question, then when the next player takes their turn, they cannot ask you a question. And neither can the next player, and neither can the next player.
I see.
And then when it's your go, you would ask a question of somebody, and
So it
that's how
helps
that works.
even out who gets the question.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing is that you've got these 2 extra little tokens, and when you are making your guess, so say I think the answer's A and I use this one, if I am correct, I would move 3 spaces instead of 1,
Oh, okay.
but the token is gone. Right? And this one means that I will score points for every incorrect guess, except for my own.
Okay.
So it's an extra way of getting bonus points. Now, when your squirrel gets to the lake, he goes for a nice swim, and you get one of your tokens back. And when you arrive at the pasture, because it's so pretty, you get another token back. The game can be played, you're supposed to use a fixed number of these,
Right.
and then after you've taken your turn, you draw 2 new ones, so that you've always got 5. And when they've run out, you go once more round. But to be honest, it's the kind of game where you can say,
We're ready
we'll
to
just
stop.
play 3 rounds, we'll play 4 rounds, we'll play until somebody gets to the top of the mountain, or until somebody gets off the board. You can play as long as you want. It's great with people that you know, because in the questions, you'll be able to ask more appropriate questions. There's no point saying, would you miss meat more if the person's a vegetarian, for example.
Exactly.
However, I have demoed this game many times at conventions with people who don't know each other. And it's been really, really good. It's gone down well.
It's a good way to get
It's
to know
an
people.
icebreaker as well.
Yeah.
Because one group in England, I actually demoed it to them, and 4 of them played, and none of them knew each other at all. So what they said is, right, what we're going to do is, once I've given you this choice, and you've answered it, and we've played it, and we've scored, tell us why that is your choice. So the game took a little longer to play, but by the end of it, they all knew a bit about each other,
Yeah.
which was
Very
quite
cool.
interesting. So,
Oh, this looks very interesting and a great icebreaker.
Yep.
Get to know people.
yeah.
When are you looking at releasing?
So this will be a Gen Con release as well. I think we're finalising everything now, and it's about to go to the printer, or it has gone to the printer. This will be a Gen Con release.
And how many players?
It's up to 6 players. I find it works better with more players, especially when you're asking the question, because there's more opportunity for right and wrong answers. I think the minimum player count is 3, but I'm not 100% sure. So.
And any idea how long it typically takes to play a game?
Probably about 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh,
As I say,
okay.
it depends. You could just go once
Right.
round and you'd be done in, less than 10 minutes and then you're done. But if you were to play the suggested length of the game, it's probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's still not a big
No,
game.
not at all. Yeah.
Good group game for getting to know people before other people come. If
Yeah.
you have a,
Yeah.
gaming group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Very cool.
Cool.
And now we have a game that was very recently announced from CGE, and it's right now called Pulsar
2849 at the moment.
At
Yes,
the moment.
Subject to
Okay.
change. Yes.
This looks like it's an early prototype. Or
Yeah, I mean the
maybe
game.
mid-
The game itself is probably about 90% done.
Okay.
But what you see here is not. This is all prototype graphics, and the name's prototype. But the actual gameplay is almost complete. We're just in the final balancing stages of the
Okay.
game.
So what's the objective of the game here?
Well, it is to get as many points as you can.
Okay.
The setting of the game is it's set in space, and there is a sector of the galaxy containing high mineral-rich pulsars, and there's a rush by all of these corporations to go and start mining these pulsars for valuable resources. There's a number of different ways of getting victory points in the game, but one of the main ways is by establishing mining stations around these pulsars and turning them into factories they will generate points for you every round. The main mechanism of the game is using dice drafting.
Oh, okay, I
At the start
see
of
that now.
start of each round, the dice will be rolled, and then players will basically take it in turns to select a dice from there, and then once there'll be 1 dice left, and once every player has got 2 dice, then each player will take it in turns to do actions with those dice.
Okay.
There are a number of different actions available, and the number on the dice indicates how well that action works for you. Certain actions require dice of a specific number. Moving your ship, for example, if you were to move your ship across the board, you would move a number of spaces equal to the dice. So obviously higher in that case is better. Now, you might just think, well, why don't we just always take the high dice? Well, this is the clever part of the game. Because what we do, once the dice are rolled, we determine which one of them is the median die. Which is basically, we line them all up,
Right.
and it's whichever one is in the middle, which in this case is the 3. Now that indicates 2 things. First of all, the time track will move 3 spaces. And when this time token moves off the end of the board, the game is over.
Oh, wow.
So what that means is, if you're consistently rolling low dice during the game, then the game will slow down.
Right.
And if you're consistently rolling high dice, the game will speed up and it will last less time. But because players are getting higher dice, they're able to do more powerful actions. So that's quite cool.
Yeah.
But once the median marker is placed, we then determine, once the time token is moved, we then determine where this is placed. Now, I won't explain the full complexities of how it works, but in this particular case, it goes there. Now, when we're doing the dice drafting, if you were to take a die from this side of the median marker, you're going to lose position on one of these 2 tracks.
Okay.
So if I was to take this 5, which is the really good die, I would actually lose 2 positions on one of these 2 tracks. And then if you decide to take the 1, you're going to gain 1, 2, it's either 2 or 3, I can't remember. You would gain positions on one of these 2 tracks. So the dice that you take determines how good the action is, but also you've got to balance that against moving on these 2 tracks, which are both vitally important during the game. Now, the different actions that you can do, I mentioned you can move your ship around the galaxy. When you fly through these sectors, you will place your cubes on them, and the more cubes that you have on the board at the end of the game, that will get you incremental number of points. There's also bonuses depending on the sector that you've landed in. You will be claiming pulsars, so when you land on a pulsar, you can then claim that pulsar as your own, except I use the red ship and the blue things, just to confuse you. Once you've claimed a pulsar, you can then build these mining stations on it, and you can upgrade the mining stations into these factories, which will produce points every round. And there's also bonuses for having 2 factories on the board of the same number. There's all sorts of things going on. You have alien technology. Now, this looks like one big technology track, but actually, these are in different sections and they're 2-sided. There's 4 different options for each level, and you decide randomly at the start of the game which you're going to use. And you can, because we're in round 1 at the moment, you can research any of these technologies, but to do so requires the die of, so I had a 5, and let's say I also took a 4, I could use my 4 to get this technology. So I've now got that technology.
Okay.
So yeah, you've got technology here. Each player has a personal development board, which works a little bit like the technologies in that you need a die and you put a cube on it. But these generally give you, they're all slightly different.
Right, yes, I see that.
But they give you instant bonuses and other bonuses that will give you extra points elsewhere. There's mega structures. These are quite cool. So you can build mega structures during the game, and you'll notice that there's red symbols on the set. Once you've built a mega structure like that, you join them together, and that gives you a bonus action of value 2. Okay?
Okay.
If I'd linked those 2 together, for example, it would be a bonus action of value 4. So you only get to do 2 actions in each round, and there's probably about 7 or 8 rounds in the game. So you're only going to, so a bonus action is really, really valuable. There's a few ways in the game you can get bonus actions, but that's one of the ways. And then once you've got that, you would put a cube on it to say, right, I've done that bonus action. You don't do it every round. It's just a once only ability. So yeah, there's mega structures that you can build that give you a variety of bonuses. There's the technology, there's the flying around.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there's a whole host of stuff that's going on. It plays in about 90 minutes.
Okay.
The demos that we've been doing If they were to do a full game, it would probably be 2 hours for the first game, including exploration. Once you've played the game a few times, you could probably play it in just over an hour, I think.
Yeah, what's very interesting with a lot of interesting decisions and a lot of positives and negatives depending on
Yeah,
what
certainly.
you do.
Yeah, when choosing the die, that's where people have to make the decisions like, oh, well, I really want that because that will allow me to do this, but actually I'm going to lose position on that track, and that's going to affect turn order for turn and things like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is a prototype right
Yes.
now, but it sounds like it's almost finished. Do you have any idea when you're looking at
It'll
it?
be Essen. Yeah, so this will be an Essen release.
Okay.
I don't know when that means it will be available for retail in America, possibly a couple of weeks after Essen. But yeah, this is going to be our big new game for Essen this year.
It looks like a very interesting game with just so many decisions, but
With dice.
Yeah. Dice drafting, which
Yeah.
is not something we see a whole lot.
There's been a few dice
Right.
games over the last few years, so this is what makes this different, because this mechanic will be similar to some other games that people have mentioned, but what makes this different is the median marker and the way that it modifies these tracks, and the bit where the game speeds up or slows down. So we played one game yesterday, I think, where people were consistently rolling 5s and 6s. It became laughable. Every round they were rolling 5s and 6s. So the game lasted, well, almost lasted 6. I think it lasted 7 rounds. So it was a quick game. But yeah, because of the high dice, people were able to do a lot more things in the game.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out when
Excellent.
it's released.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if you are a fan of shooter games, either third or first-person shooters, you should definitely check out the base game of Adrenaline. But now it's been so popular that they have an expansion for it. So, how does this expansion play?
So it plays very differently. It's the same core game, the same core rules, but all of the games that I've played of it and demoed to people, it plays very differently because it introduces a 6th character, but it divides. We introduce team rules. So the reason we've introduced the 6th character, so you can play 3 versus 3, or you can play 2 versus 2. We're also working on a 2-player mode if we can get it to work properly. So the way that it works, I mean, we've got this set up for 2 versus 2 battle. You will pick which characters are on which teams, and I'm sure we will do something better than bits of cardboard cut out and painted on. So you have a yellow team and you have a red team. The big difference is that each character comes with their own set of personalised weapons. Okay. So these three weapons are for Destructor, and they are designed to work together in a specific way, and they are thematically tied to what he does. So Banshee's cards, for example, she's an alien that's got telekinesis and mind control powers. And the way that her cards work is that she can control other people on the board and get them to do things. But the other big difference is you start with these cards in your hand loaded and ready to fire. Wow. Okay? In fact, one of these is not actually a weapon. This one is a gadget. The gadgets are not actions to use. So every round, I can play it, I can do it, and then I can reload it automatically.
Oh, nice.
So it's a cool little extra ability that I get to do, and all the characters have got. Now, what makes it interesting is in this setup we've got the new character. I can't remember what she's called, with Destructor up, and there might be some of these cards that actually work well together.
Okay.
And when it's our turn, we actually could take our turns simultaneously.
Oh.
So it would be like, oh, well, wait a minute, well, I can do this, and I can bring him to there, and once he's there, you then do that, because this character can walk through walls. So you walk through a wall, and you do that, and then I'll do this, and you can coordinate your turns together.
Okay.
And while we're doing that, the other team will probably be discussing together about what they're going to do. So the games that I've run of this are a lot more. There's a lot more conversation. There's a lot more frantic activity at the table and discussing, planning on what you're going to do next.
Very cool. Are the extra cards that are specific for the characters compatible with the base game?
They're exactly the same size and shape, but I don't think you can put this in the game as another weapon.
Right. I didn't know if it'd be something where you could start them off like that or something.
So yeah, when you're playing with the team rules, you start with your own ones, but the original weapons will be available in the arena to pick up. But no, these are purely for the team version to go with that.
Very cool.
So the new mechanic that we're working on at the moment, and this is not 100% decided on, but we're working on a fatigue mechanic. So you actually have an extra little piece, which is on the end of your board here, and there are certain abilities that you have, which mean you have to spend 1 fatigue to use them. And that basically means You move that to the left. So you're effectively damaging yourself by doing it, and you could, in fact, kill yourself by doing it. You know, if your health bar is filled up with blood drops, and you decide to do this action, and it moves to the left, then you might then actually die because of that. But depending on the ability, that might be the right thing to do. Now, the way that the points work in the team match is that when somebody shoots me, it doesn't matter who shoots me. I use my own blood drop markers because it doesn't actually matter who shot me because it's a team game. And when I die, the other team will score 8 points, and we put a score on as normal. And then if they were to kill me again, they would score 6 points. And so, but players can still earn individual scores with the achievement track. So when you do first blood on somebody, if I deal first blood, I put a counter over here. If later in the game I was able to do first blood again, I put another one on there, and once I've got 2 on there, I score 2 points, which is for the team, but it's my point. I got it. Okay. So you get points for first blood, points for kill shot, points for overkill. Headshot is if you do 5 damage to somebody, to the same person in one turn. You can say headshot, you get a point. And destruction is dealing 3 damage to 2 different players in your turn. So what tends to happen in the games that I've run, say if we were playing a 4-player team game, everybody would probably die once, which means those points are balanced out. But then it comes down to who did this. Again, we're still working on how long the game lasts. With 6 players, we generally just play 2 rounds. With 4 players, we'll play until a certain number of scores have gone. But we're tweaking those things at the moment.
So, I mean, I'm just impressed with how well Adrenaline has been able to simulate a shooter game and make it very action-packed and make it balance it so that one person doesn't get bullied down, or if they do, they aren't worth as many points. Just a fun experience.
Yeah, a fun experience, but done as a Euro game, where you actually have to actually think about your moves. It's like, oh well, I could do that, and that would kill him, and that would get me this. But yeah, you don't just run around and shoot people because it's fun. You could do, but you're actually picking up the right ammunition. And it's like, oh, well, I picked up 2 weapons that all need yellow cubes. I don't, So there are certain decisions. It's the nice sweet spot. I think the play length, the complexity, but it appeals to lots of different gaming styles put together. So, yeah.
Any idea when you might have this ready?
This should be Essen as well.
Essen as well.
So this is still being worked on at the moment. There are certain things that we've had to do ahead of time. So the new character mold is almost done. Okay. Because that is getting printed at a different place, and that needs a lot more lead time than the rest of the components. So there are certain things that we're working on now, but there's still a few tweaks that we're making to the game itself.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you showing me all of these upcoming games.
Hot games, yes.
Yeah, very hot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers.